Subscribe now.
The Little Mermaid. Deep beneath the waves, in a kingdom of shimmering coral and pearl, lived the Sea King. He ruled with a gentle hand over the ocean folk and cherished his 4 daughters. But the youngest, Princess Coralia, was different. While her sisters played, she listened to whispered tales of the world above the water. Coralia tended to a secret garden filled with treasures from the surface. A tarnished locket, a marble statue of a boy, and colored glass smoothed by the sea. She would spend hours imagining the lives of the people who had owned them. It was the law of the sea that on their 15th birthday, a princess could rise to the surface and see the sky. Coralia listened with envy as her older sisters, Aquata and Marina, described the wonders they had seen. "The sky is like a giant blue shell," said Aquata. "And the sun is a ball of pure gold," added Marina. When her sister Perla returned, she spoke of great stone castles and the sound of music that drifted over the water at night. Coralia's heart ached with a longing so deep it felt like a physical pain. She counted every single day until her own turn would come. At last, the day arrived. Coralia's 15th birthday dawned, and the palace buzzed with excitement. Her grandmother, the Dowager Queen, placed a wreath of white lilies in her hair. "Be careful, little one," she whispered. "The surface world is beautiful, but it is not our own." Coralia swam upwards, faster and faster, until she burst through the surface into the open air. The setting sun painted the sky in shades of orange and pink she had never imagined. The world was bigger and more breathtaking than any story. A great ship with tall masts floated nearby, music and laughter echoing across the waves. On its deck stood a handsome young prince with kind eyes and dark hair. Coralia felt her heart flutter. She watched him for hours, hidden by the gentle swell of the sea. But the sky turned dark without warning. A terrible storm descended, lashing the ship with wind and rain. The waves grew into mountains of black water, tossing the vessel as if it were a toy. With a final groan, the ship's masts splintered and it sank beneath the waves. Coralia dove through the wreckage, her heart pounding with fear. She found the prince, unconscious, and pulled him into her arms, determined to save him. She swam all night, finally laying him gently on the sand of a quiet beach near a temple. She sang a soft, sad song of the sea, hoping to wake him. As a young woman came out from the temple, Coralia kissed the prince's forehead and slipped back into the ocean, her heart breaking. Back in her father's kingdom, Coralia could think of nothing but the prince. She grew pale and quiet. In her desperation, she decided to seek the only one who might help her, the dreaded sea witch of the deep chasms. The sea witch lived in a house made of bleached bones, surrounded by a forest of grasping polyps. The witch herself was a monstrous creature, part woman and part octopus, with a cruel smile. "I know what you want," the witch rasped. "I can give you legs, but the price is high. You must give me your beautiful voice." She held out a potion that swirled with dark magic. "And there is more," the witch cackled. "Every step you take will feel like walking on sharp knives. And if your prince marries another, on the dawn of his wedding day, you will dissolve into sea foam." Love for the prince was stronger than her fear. Coralia nodded, took the potion, and drank it in one gulp. A sharp pain tore through her, and as she swam towards the shore, she felt her voice being pulled from her throat like a silken ribbon. Prince Adrian found her lying on the sand, wrapped only in her long hair. He was captivated by her beauty and her graceful, though painful, movements. He took her to his castle, but was saddened to find she was mute. He called her his foundling. They spent many days together, riding horses and walking in the gardens. Coralia's love for him grew with every passing moment. She would dance for him, and though each step was agony, her love made her movements light and beautiful. One evening, the prince confided in her. "I am grateful to you," he said, "but my heart belongs to the girl from the temple who saved me from the storm. My parents have arranged for me to marry a princess from a nearby kingdom, Princess Lyra. I must do my duty." When Princess Lyra arrived, she was beautiful and charming. But when she greeted the prince, Coralia froze in horror. The voice that came from Lyra's lips was her own, stolen by the sea witch. The prince, hearing the beautiful voice he remembered from the beach, was convinced that Lyra was his true savior. He announced their wedding would be held on his ship in 3 days. Coralia's heart turned to ice. The sea witch's curse was coming true. That night, as Coralia stared at the sea from the ship's deck, her sisters rose from the waves. Their beautiful hair had been cut short. "We gave our hair to the sea witch in exchange for this," Aquata cried, holding up a gleaming knife. "You must kill the princess, and let her blood touch your feet. You will become a mermaid again and live." Coralia crept into the cabin where the prince and his bride slept. Princess Lyra lay sleeping peacefully. Looking at her innocent face, Coralia knew she could not do it. She ran back to the deck and threw the knife into the waves, choosing to sacrifice herself for the prince's happiness. As the first rays of dawn touched the sky, the sea began to churn. Her father, the Sea King, rose from the depths, his face a mask of fury. At the same moment, the Sea Witch, enraged by Coralia's choice, transformed into a monstrous kraken and attacked the ship, her tentacles wrapping around the hull. Seeing her father and the prince in danger, Coralia felt a surge of courage. She dove into the sea, grabbing a sharp, broken mast from the water. She fought the beast, and with a final mighty thrust, she pierced its heart. As the monster dissolved into black ink, a beautiful light shot from it and into Coralia's throat. Her voice was returned. "It was you," Prince Adrian whispered from the deck, having seen everything. "It was you who saved me. Your voice." He turned to the terrified Princess Lyra, then back to Coralia, who was being lifted from the water by her father. "It is you I love." He asked Coralia to be his wife, and she joyfully accepted. Their love built a bridge between the land and the sea, and they lived happily ever after.
Subscribe now. Subscribe now.